Okay, so hello everyone. Uh, Take two. This is my just a a second test stream. The first one went okay, as you'll see. On a practical level, on a technical level, it was a bit of a disaster. Uh, Stream didn't go anywhere. Apparently, didn't have the right stream keys in. So we'll just see how this one goes. So what I've been doing is this. So I got to the point where I drew in the coastline or the banks of the river, and inked in the eastern half or western half actually of Crown City. So I guess we'll carry on. Like I say, this is a test stream to go out wherever. We'll see how. So the idea is this is a stream to test the technological side of things. If everything's set up okay, test the other end, see if the stream works okay, casting it to the web. See what data usage is like, because I'm on a bit of a I'm on a restriction, but it's a pretty broad restriction, and see how, and to mark progress with all of this sort of stuff, because I have been promising my long suffering players better maps and things for years now, and I'm just sort of getting to the point where I am motivated, able, practically, technologically, and all of that to supply those sorts of things. So just trying to make a start on it, as well as mark a bit of progress, which is why I'm live streaming it instead of like doing wonderfully aesthetic videos. So yeah, stream health is poor. 4 seconds or less for keyframes. Okay, cool. So we'll have to deal with keyframes. We will have to deal with that. Anyway, we'll just see how we go. And this is where I'm at the moment. Yeah, so just a stream, just a chat, as I carry on inking. I had to wait for the coastline to dry a little bit, and we'll go from there. But anyway, the first stream had a nice big interlude of me looking for a proper marker, because the marker I started over here with decided to not work so well going over the pencil lines. So I had to go and dig through my pencil case and find a better one, which is why I've got like collections of markers lying around, because I thought I might as well get out the whole kit and caboodle, and we'll see where we end up with from here. So the idea is that, yeah, mainly to mark progress. This is mainly an archive for me, which is why I'm dressed in my usual hobo aesthetic. I mean, there's probably not going to be anyone watching it anyway, because this is a test. Unlike when I do it for real, not for play, at which point I'm sure millions of you will be clamoring to see what else is going on. Yeah, just trying to mark the progress, because this is a world building extravaganza, as we like to say in the business. Crown City, inland a bit from Bryan's Bay, where pirates are. Crown City being the capital city of the Queen's Land, in the magical, mystical fantasy world of Australia. Second major tilt at world building. First world was is a high gothic fantasy setting. This one's a little bit less serious, a little bit more built on kind of high fantasy, regular high fantasy tropes, not quite the Diablo-inspired paradise that I tend to default to. This is the lower city of Crown City. The river here going up into the trade tunnels of the mountain. It's a caldera, a volcanic caldera. So if we think of the lower city, which is at the foot of the mountain, river that passes by the foot of the mountain, and winds up into the caldera. Lower city is like the outer suburbs. It's a little bit scrubby. The trade tunnels are like the CBD / inner suburbs, and then the caldera itself is like the old town where all the rich folks live, where the Queen herself, her closest advisors, merchant lords, so on and so forth, congregate. I've actually got the other two parts of the city, the trade tunnels and the caldera, have been drawn already. But this is the part where one of my groups are actually playing at the moment. So I thought it would be a good idea to draw this, seeing as this is sort of the most relevant in a gameplay sense. This is where probably the most games that I've held in Australia actually start. So I thought this would be the best bang for my buck as far as drawing it properly, inking it in. I'll get the others done possibly on another stream, because I get the feeling this one is only going to last as long as this stream does tonight. Holy shit, I buggered that up well, didn't I? Probably need to put my feet on the floor. I've got my feet on a footstool. Yeah. So just trying to do the most bang for my buck. I've also got to do Bryan's Bay, which is a city that is in and across an archipelago of islands, down about 2 days to the west. It was the capital until a major scientific discovery was made in the cold era of the Queen City, at which point power gradually shifted over about, I think it was about 200 years, or 250, 300 years, somewhere around there, over to Crown City. And Bryan's Bay, the residents of Bryan's Bay, are kind of divided between being happy that the toffs have all gone and being kind of salty that they're no longer the powerhouse, the political powerhouse that they once were. But, and this is, so, and in the lower city, this is where, like I say, so mostly lower level traders. There's a warehouse district down here, which, as you can see, is full of really quite large buildings. There's a weird temple in the middle here, which has been here predating any of the structures around it. I think this is the sort of the upper class area of the lower city, but otherwise it's mainly like there's no paved roads around here. It's all feels fairly ruralized. That's not to say that it's not without its charm, of course. Ooh, that's maybe just doing individual lines. So yeah, my first stream, I completely buggered up and didn't get any of the, like, so I'm trying to stream to YouTube and Facebook at the same time. I get the feeling it's probably just going to end up being streamed to YouTube and then post a notification to Facebook. So there's no like buffering errors or anything like that. Might be the idea. But that's all shit that I'm sorting out as I go. I used to, yeah, but when I first streamed, I was like explaining, you know, what my deal was, why I've got all these pens and things like that. Just trying to, you know, get into the groove of things. Then didn't have any of the stream keys right. Neither of the stream keys I used worked, even though they came up as being like I didn't get any error message about anything, but they don't appear to have posted, so that's alright. We just carry on. But yeah, I used to wait until everything was perfect and I had, I would I think of it as maximalism. Like, you've heard of minimalism. It was like, okay, I've got to have a Spotify playlist, but Spotify in like such a way that like my headphones, wherever they are, they're on the arm there. So I can like listen to my tunes, and I'm gonna get all pumped, and I'm gonna have a Discord going, and I'd have all of these things, and I'd just make it so big that I wasn't ever gonna be able to stop sort of adding bits and pieces onto it, and I'd never actually start. I would buy pens. So I think I bought these ones in a set. And then everything else. I bought the Poscas in a set. I've got a huge bunch of Poscas, which I got pretty excited about. And then I've just bought like the occasional fine liner or technical liner, or mechanical, technical pencil, or whatever the hell you want to call them, whenever I've gone down to the art shop. And I'd buy all of these things and, be like, okay, that'll be good for when I start mapping this stuff properly. And, like, I get the feeling that eventually it would get to the point where all of these pens would be dried out and useless and crusty, and I still wouldn't have started. So I'm just jumping straight in, which is why I know, my couture isn't exactly the greatest, but I'm just keeping it casual, and learning as I go. Seems to be the idea. And hopefully this one actually posts, because I quite enjoyed just sort of having a chat, even though at the moment I'm talking to myself. And I can't actually see if there's anyone. Yeah, so the keyframe thing is we're gonna have to figure out what's going on with keyframes, but these are all things to figure out. Yeah, so look, we're getting there. So it's taken. So I was 50 minutes on stream to get that half of it done, and I've only been here for 20 minutes, and there's a substantially less amount to do over here, but it'll still give me a bit of a metric for how to go. Yeah. Or do I use... So the idea, I suspect I'm just gonna... I'm probably just gonna do the basic inking like I am. and then it'll be a scan into the into Affinity. And then the labeling and the cleanup and the, I don't know, the details. I'm not actually expecting it to be a whole lot different to the way it is, to be honest. It's meant to be a little bit rough around the edges. And this is also part of me kind of learning how to do this. I've been drawing maps since before I was a teenager. And I can't say that I've improved a whole hell of a lot, but that's because I haven't been like mindful of it, I guess you could think of it. I've just kind of been doing it on autopilot, but I'm kind of interested in learning how to do it. I guess I've improved, like in certain ways. There's defined suburbs and things like that, and I haven't got the worst awareness of like spacing and all of that. I still feel like scale gets away from me sometimes, but these are all things. Once again, this is part of this multi-layered approach. Like, if I can learn how to do a decent stream, if I can learn how to do fucking straight lines, good lord. Maybe I just need to be more patient, more mindful, get into more flow. Or maybe I just need to be just put a little bit more practice in. But yeah. Yeah, and eventually there will be, because I've got there's blue, green, none of the roads here are sealed, like I say. That seems to be a bit of a feature. This whole area down here is like the bayou. It's like swamp marsh. And there's a couple of like houses on stilts and stuff, a couple of fishing shacks scattered across this area. So there's definitely like a brown, green, grey kind of deal going through here before it goes uphill a little bit into the raised part of the city. Things like there's a deep lagoon just here, which is why the city was chosen to be here. Well, that and the access to the caldera, obviously, but there's quite a deep lagoon. Maybe the lagoon is an artificial construct. Maybe the lagoon was constructed that way so the larger ships could come into port here. I don't know. Anyway. All interesting things to think about. But yeah, I'm not going to be doing like much detail on the roofs or cross-hatching, but I don't know. I'm just trying to sort of figure it out as I go, and like I say, work out areas of improvement, as well as do a whole bunch of other stuff with all of this gear. At error, please use a keyframe frequency of 4 seconds. Maybe I need to, get the feeling that'll be the first thing. If this actually even saves, then we'll see how notifications works. But anyway, it's all I'm just enjoying, like, this was another thing, like back when I was, in the first stream when I did the west half of this city. I was talking about how, I wouldn't even start something if I couldn't change the world doing it. And I've always loved writing. It just clicks with me. Or I click with it, maybe. Gotta sneeze. Oh, excuse me. I've always loved writing, and I can remember when I read about the youngest person to ever publish a book. He was 8 years old, I think he was. And I was young enough I remember thinking quite clearly, oh, okay, if I write a book, I will beat that record. And I'm almost 40 now. I'm turning 39 this year. Still haven't published. Still haven't been published. And that's like, it's that whole like idea of like, well, I'm not going to write a book unless it like changes the literary landscape. And I haven't been a victim of that mindset for quite a few years now, but I've also been, I've been in unstable housing, and it took me a while to get stable, get all of this equipment and stuff. And now I finally feel like I have the time, the energy, and the money to sort of start looking at this sort of thing. And I don't actually remember where I was going with that, but yeah. Okay. I think that might be it. 28 minutes, half an hour, so that's about an hour and 20 minutes to do that one. I was going to get out my grey Posca, but I think I'm just going to use the black one here just to keep it solid. Okay, so there we go. Hopefully this gives me a bit of an idea. That is a fully inked map. So I'll give it a going over with the eraser. Might give it a couple of minutes just to make sure all the ink's dry, although I'm pretty sure, yeah. Look at all of that. Yeah, that's all dry. So I'm going to stop streaming just to give that, like, this is a good enough test. We'll see how that one goes, and then we will we'll just see what happens. I'll get all of these keyframes or whatnot sorted out, and then we can start the next plan. This is actually fairly motivating. Let's just have a chat. So then I go back and I'll watch this through and check out audio levels and, what the deal was, how quick it took to upload, things like this. And then we can go from there. It's actually fairly motivating, it seems, and you know, I might even put on a proper outfit next time. And I've got this map now, so now I can progress from there, up the game on the graph paper, all sorts of things like that. So, if you were watching at all, thanks for coming along. Hopefully this all posts, and I will see you. I'll see you, like, I don't know what I'll be doing next time. Like I say, this is a test stream, but we'll go from there. Alright, thank you.